James, you look that way. D, look straight ahead. Dad, you look that way. This is really what you got. You got a bunch of people looking through different windows. You don't have a team. Y'all see that? Now stay just like where you are. That's what God has on. That's what's going on with God. God gets you born again, and He got a bunch of people, but everybody's looking out their own window, and God's trying to get them to look His way. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for the beauty of holiness. Thank you for the wind of God, the working of your Spirit. Thank you for, most importantly, your love. You found us, we didn't find you.
Thank you.
You loved us first, we didn't love you first. This thing is about you, it's not about us.
Yes.
We thank you for directing our heart in the fear of you. In Jesus' name. Say in the name of Jesus.
In the name of Jesus.
I recognize the Word of God is more powerful than any two-edged sword. I believe your word. And I believe you want to set me free. I speak, Lord. And your word comes to pass. I'm asking you today. Direct my heart. Where I am. Enlighten me to wisdom. Give me direction. Speak, Lord. Your son, your servant, hears. In Jesus' name. So while you're standing, can you give me, are you able to get John chapter 1? Chapter 8? We've been speaking from Romans, but we're going to do this together. John chapter 8, verse 31 and 32. Let's do it together. Get your own Bibles. We're spoiled, usually to the screen, but you all should have this memorized anyway. Amen. John chapter 8, verse 31 through 32. Then said Jesus to those Jews which believed on him. You can look on the screen. If you continue in my word, then are ye my disciples indeed. And you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. You may be seated. We don't need to add a blessing to the reading of the word. God's word is already blessed. I want to take some time to continue to tread on or plow down the track that we are on, how to find the will of God. Or the importance of finding the will of God. And I hope that you are, if you have not if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do. Just go to Kelvin Eastern, and then you can find any of the teachings that we're doing. And it's important for you to listen, because not only is repetition, right? Not reputation. Repetition is the mother of learning. But it is also the key to you becoming a master. If you do something 10,000 times, you will become, in 10,000 hours, If you devote 10,000 hours to anything, you will become a master. So if you devote 10,000 hours to rolling blunts, you will become an expert at rolling blunts. Yeah, it's about 3 years of time. I say I knew I would get your attention by saying that. Some of y'all was out asleep. No, the fact is a vice or a virtue.
Yes.
Are you listening to me?
Yeah.
A vice, say it with me. A vice or a virtue will be mastered based on the time I give it. Right. One of the things that we fail to realize is that God did not change the equipment. He changed the source. So he didn't change. When you became born again, he didn't give you a new will. He did give you a new mind, but I'm going to explain that. He didn't give you a new brain. He didn't give you these new eyes. He didn't give you new eyes, physical eyes. You understand what I'm saying? God didn't change the equipment in you. He changed the source. He disconnected you from darkness and reconnected you to the kingdom. Now you have to train all of those attributes and qualities to go a new way. Y'all listening? Need everybody to stay focused with me and be attentive. And so that's important. Are we able to, did you able to get the slide? Okay, let's see, because I want to review. Oh, look, check out, give Victoria a round of applause. A bunch of folks wasn't able to make it today, and I'm short-handed back there, and she said, I don't know if I can get it up. But let's see if we can make a passing and review. So let's go to the second slide. I want to review this again. This scripture says, for we are fellow workmen, joint promoters. Come on, you can see it right there, so you can say it. Joint promoters, laborers together with and for God. You are, say, I am God's garden and vineyard and field under cultivation. You are, I am God's building. That's the Amplified. I think that's a contemporary version of the Amplified Bible. Now, I am building on this track again because I want you to see the reality of something. If you notice in the left, and I know you can't see as well with the sun, but that left picture is a picture of an untilled or uncultivated garden. The land grows with weeds, or remember what I just said, virtues or vices, right? Virtue or vices. You all do know it's easier to do wrong things than it is right.
Amen. Yeah.
Yes? Yeah, it's easy. It's more laborious, or there's more intentionality, more labor and focus requires to get right outcomes the right way. And that happened because of death being brought into the earth. Everything, say everything, has death coloring. Except my born again spirit. Y'all hear that? How many of you are born again in the room? How many of you all realize that your spirit doesn't belong on this earth? Doesn't come from this earth. Your spirit is the only thing that you have possession of outside of the Word of God that has purity in it from head to tail, top to bottom on planet Earth. Your spirit. Amen. So that place is effortless. There is no difficulty from your spirit man. Your spirit man is not struggling.
Come on.
The spirit man has no struggle in it at all. Your spirit man has a full-grown Jesus in it. Your spirit man operates and thinks like God. Your spirit man has the virtues of the kingdom. Your spirit man can leap over walls.
Come on.
Your spirit man is alive to God. Your soul is not.
Come on.
The picture here that we gathered in the left picture is this ground that if you leave it alone, remember, anything you leave alone does what?
Wow.
So let's say it this way. So help me with this, because I want to give you some shock value. Everything left alone goes to hell.
All right.
Naturally, it begins to die, and if you don't keep moving in a direction, you're going backwards. See, spiritual things, you can't do that either. You can't just sit in a pocket and you think you're just going to stay there and don't do anything. No, you're moving one direction or another, even though you may not be able to see it. And so there's nothing you leave to itself that will prosper. Anything left alone will die. It will not prosper. It will go to hell. And that's contrary to our thinking process, because we look at God as being able to do any and everything. Can he? He can't do any and everything. So Kelvin on the one that said something. Some of y'all looking at maybe he can't do any and everything. No, God can do any and everything. But lie. Yeah, he can't lie. then he'd cease to be God.
All right.
If he said it's true. But here's the thing that I want you to understand. This is what you have to get in your heart. You are laborers. The way he made you, he made you to be a partner with him.
Do the work.
It's extremely important. We are laborers together with God. Remember last week when I brought Josiah up here? And I said that we want God to carry us to every place of glory. And it's good preaching, right? It be sounding good. God's going to carry us, and we're to be glory carriers. And all that's true. But God told you to walk all through the text. Walk in the Spirit, and you shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. Walk, sit, walking, sit. Psalms 1 there's 3 postures in Psalms 1. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful, nor stands in the way of sinners. And most of your time, notice, in life, most of the time you are either standing, sitting, or walking. So he's telling you, in order to have prosperity, you must spend majority of your time thinking like God thinks for you to have a harvest. He didn't say sleep. Thank you, Holy Spirit. I heard that. I heard that. You know what the Lord just said to me? He said, you know why I didn't say sleep? Because it's what you do when you're standing, walking, and seating that you'll meditate on when you go to sleep. Now, if you study it out, you'll find this to be true because, the matter of fact, I'm working on some things here. The most important time for you to impress your heart is before you go to sleep, right before you go to sleep, and when you get up in the morning. Yeah. The reason is because you're in a meditative state where your heart is mostly impacted. Did you hear what I just said? Yeah. So if you'll spend time thinking through God all day in some way, form, or fashion, and you let those last hours be God's, then you will find yourself, your heart will begin to start chasing after God. Put it this way, while you're sleeping, your heart, your whole soul is defragging. That's what dreams are. Your whole soul is detoxing. I don't know, I don't want to get into all of this, but there are several things that happen with your body during sleep. That's the reason why you need to get into bed at a certain time, Kelvin, and you need to work on that because actually there's a system where God is filtering or restoring your liver, your kidneys, all of these things in a certain rhythm. Yeah. And when you don't get to sleep at a certain time, some of those things are being missed out on for being rejuvenated. Does that make sense to you? Yeah. Well, likewise, when you go to sleep, everybody in the room dreams. Well, I don't dream. Well, you don't remember what you dream. But you dream. How you know that? Because if you don't dream, you're going to have psychological problems. Whoa. No, I'm dead serious. You have to dream. Man, God's more than a genius. You are greater than any computer that exists on planet Earth and ever will. When you lay down to rest, your body, your soul, your heart, spiritual part of you is alive. That's why you should not have the TV on when you sleep. Come on. Cut the doggone TV on. You got enough problems. Cut the TV off. Well, I can't sleep until the TV on. That means you're unhealthy. Well, that's your opinion. My opinion bears out with the Holy Ghost. Your spirit is alive and can hear. The soul is active. And if you got stuff coming off that TV, you are sleeping. But your subconscious is not. And it's taking in stuff that you don't need to take in. Well, I got a habit of doing it. Then break the habit. How do you break the habit? Get somebody that will be accountable with you. Cut the thing off. and work on it for about 30 days.
Give it a new.
And if you can't get it in 30, get it in 60.
All right.
But if you can't sleep without noise, that's not normal. But turn to the person next to you and say, there's a lot that's not normal about it. I needed to help you out there, because some of us, oh God, because most of American people, a lot of American people are sleep deprived. That creates problems, stress, all of these things, and then sickness and disease becomes an incubator to sickness and disease in your life. But when you go to bed at night, what's supposed to happen is your spirit is supposed to be working on something at night. Your spirit should be working on dreams and vision that connects to God at night. But if you don't tell it what to think about, then it will think on something. And if you don't tell it to think on anything, then it keeps giving you the same thing over and over and over again. And last week we told you the definition of insanity, right? Einstein said it's doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. But you should give your spirit something to work with. Again, these are things, man, I keep studying out and I'm working at it. Say, turn to the person next to you and say, I'm working on it.
I'm working on it.
The world caught on to some of these things, see. Y'all with me? There's a famous writer needed to he had a deadline on the book. And his publisher said, you got to get a title for this book. And if you don't have it in the morning, this is the title. And he gave some generic title. And titles are important. This was back in the early 1900s. This gentleman was tasked with interviewing about 25,000 people of success. There's tons of people that he interviewed. And he labeled, or he wrote down, recorded everything he saw that was the pathway and patterns of success with these people. And then he dialogued with certain laws of success and put it in his book. Well, he was trying to find a title. And the guy put pressure and said that he told me, I don't like that title. He said, that title not going to sell. So I need a title that will sell. So what he did, he put what he understood with the laws of success, and he said, before he went to bed, he spoke to his heart, his spirit, and said, now I'm going to go to sleep, but I need a best-selling title, and I need you to work on that while I'm sleeping. About 3 o'clock in the morning, he had a pad on the side of the bed. He woke right up in the middle of the night, and the name of the title came up. He wrote that title down and said, that's him! He wrote that title down. And that book is one of the world's best-selling books. But he got it in his meditative state by putting his heart to work. Well, that's New Age. No, that's God Age. New Age doesn't create anything. Satan doesn't create anything. He borrows and steals everything. So Jim, I think you all heard Jim talk about this when he was here, those of you that know Dr. Jim Richards. And he talked about the fact that you should have, matter of fact, most of them tell you this, you should have a pen and sheet of paper next to your desk, to your bed, because ideas come to you. You all do know everybody in this room has had an idea that will make you rich. Well, that's New Age. No. That's Dominion Age. Somebody said, man, that's my ideal on TV. So the issue is, I'm still on this thing. If you leave anything alone, that left picture, but you got too much sun so you can't see, that left picture, if you leave it alone, something's coming up, but it won't be what you want.
Right.
You have to be a farmer. That picture there, for those of our guests, that's a picture of a person on the right side tending to the crop, tending to their garden with a hoe. They got tools, right? Yes? Yes. So if you want to find the will of God, then you're going to have to move from being a person that does nothing on the left to a person that does something on the right. Are you listening to me? Yes. Next slide. In passing and reviewing, We said to cultivate means to prepare and use. It can be land for crops or gardening, and the synonym is said, till, plow, dig, turn, hoe. Say this with me. Work. To develop, to cultivate means to develop. It can be a quality, a sentiment, or a skill. But two things there I said. You need to cultivate change. Change doesn't just happen. I was meeting with some senior leaders the other week, and one of the things people fail to realize with teams, just because you have 6-8 people working together don't mean you have a team. This is the biggest problem in the body of Christ, and it's a problem in corporate America, that people say, I got my team. No, you got a bunch of people that are standing with each other. But watch this. Stand to your feet, Dee, James, Dad. James, you look that way. Dee, look straight ahead. Dad, you look that way. This is really what you got. You got a bunch of people looking through different windows. You don't have a team. Y'all see that? Now, stay just like where you are. That's what God has on. That's what's going on with God. God gets you born again, and He got a bunch of people, but everybody's looking out their own window, and God's trying to get them to look His way. So the challenge is to get everybody aligned. So, James, follow me. You see me? Dee, follow me. Dad, follow me. This is what happens in your mind and your eyes when you start doing that. Follow Him. Now you're seeing through His eyes, and He can work His task because we're on one accord with the vision that God has. But perception is our reality, and everybody has a different perception. Yeah? Thank you all. You may be seated. So the renewing of the mind is really realignment of sight. That's all that really is. That's what the renewing of the mind is. It's the realignment of sight. Y'all got that? So I have to cultivate this change, because the change doesn't automatically happen. Why? Because my perception is based on the reality I have lived. But just because I've lived it doesn't mean it's really the right sight. Everybody get it? So this is why you can have a person. So let's say Kevin has made $15 million. That's a good thing to say, isn't it? So let's say Kevin has made $15 million. And let's say he's followed conventional wisdom, not shortcuts, but he's followed conventional wisdom to find himself into that place of prosperity. And then I decide, or we could hook up, and Kevin says we're going to learn together. He's going to mentor me. And I listen to everything he says, and I put everything in practice. And I can't seem to crack 500,000. I did everything he said do. What's the problem? My heart is processing through a different value system than his. My beliefs can be different than his. So whatever I do, just because I mimic what he does, doesn't mean I'm going to have his outcome. Turn to the person next to you and say, wake your tail up. You see, what's in your heart, the water level in your heart, you can't fake out. So though you can have it here, you can believe something else here. Though you can have it here, your values can be here. For example, if you believe as a believer, For example, one of the things that I had to work with and continue to work with is because I said when I was younger, I never wanted to compromise the gospel financially. So that's a good confession. But if that value system is not dealt with, it could also say fear of success on one side of the fence, that was because it could be equate to, if you are successful financially as a preacher, you're stealing. Y'all didn't catch anything I just said. Why? Because the heart with flesh, your heart is going to go the way that you really believe. So you have to examine what you are really believing at your heart level so that you can change and cultivate a new outcome where you can still have wealth and don't sabotage it just because you're a believer. Because just because you're a believer doesn't mean you got to be broke. That is not biblical. But whatever's going on at your heart is what your heart is, or rather what you're going to manifest, no matter what you say in your head. Okay. So just because I mimic everything Elder Dozier does doesn't mean I'm going to have his outcome. I can mimic what he says, but I'm going to have to do something at my heart too. This is why a lot of the get rich stuff doesn't work, because you can copy the formula, but you can't copy the heart. Does this make sense? Yes? All right. So that works in any area of your life. If you try to abstain from sexual immorality and you don't have the right type of things inside of your heart, you can do everything that another person does, but you're still going to struggle because issues are not external, they're internal. Turn to the person next to you and say, if I master me, I certainly will be free. Yeah. See, you're your biggest problem. So we must cultivate change. We must cultivate our what? Our garden. So go back to that last screen again where we were. What we said last week is happening a lot, and now I'm doing this on TV. I am going to be on TV, but I'm doing this on Christ Family Network. I'm talking about it, and I'm going to probably weigh into this pretty heavy. You see, if you come to church every Sunday and you are excited and you are stimulated, how many of you know that's good? In its proper place. If I'm excited and stimulated, so let's say, let's pretend that grass to the left is T.D. Jakes. T.D. Jakes is over that, like I'm saying. T.D. Jakes is in the garden, right? And he said, get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready. And you just, yeah. But there's no seed in the ground. Are you stimulated? Yes. Are you excited? Yes. So let's say all Allen and all them guys get on the worship. I was in the glory. But ain't no seed in the ground. So every Sunday, this is what's happening around the world. Every Sunday, people are getting stimulated. Now watch this. The next thing that's happening is everybody saying, the land is given, God is full of milk and honey. The land is da-da-da-da. And then we're telling you everything at the land, everything about the stuff. But if you don't get underneath that, you don't have nothing. And so a bunch of people are preaching. This is what I'm talking about, soul work. We are doing a lot of soul preaching and not kingdom preaching. And we're just appealing to the outer man, how to get to the next destination, how to fix your relationship. Do this, do this, do this, don't do that. Is that some good? Yeah, but it's not the root. It's not the laying the axe at the root of the tree, and it's not going. You see,
You see, we've been sold a bill of goods that was a lie with switch and bait. Because if the devil can get you success-minded and not kingdom-minded, you will fail in your assignment. But I'm succeeding. Based on who? Then you won't know until you get to heaven. That's why Jesus said, are you all listening? People listening with me? Jesus said what? He said, there's no foundation that can be laid than that which is laid, which is Christ himself. But he said, make sure you take heed. He said, take heed. The word H-O-W is next. How you build upon that foundation. So what he's basically saying is, your folks saved, PK, but as a pastor, an apostle, as a teacher, take heed what you telling them. And then to you, he's saying, take heed what you're hearing and what you're taking heed to. Because something's going to come up, he's telling you. You got a garden and something is going to come up. Then he tells you, you can build with hay, stubble, and there's one more. Then it says gold and silver and precious stones. There you go. Wood, hay, and stubble. And then he says gold, silver, and precious stones. But he makes it clear, you're not going to get fake. You can't fake this out because everything is going to get tried in the fire. And the three, hay, stubble, and wood, when it hits the fire, it's gone. But the precious stones, the silver, and the gold gets better. Purifies, gets rid of the dross, the things that shouldn't be there, and you come out with on the other side with blessing. And so what I think has happened is that preachers want to be popular, and we want to tickle your ear, and we want to tune, and nothing wrong with tuning up. I'm just saying, what are we saying? What are we saying? Does this make sense? If you got a safety deposit box with $1 billion in it, what does it profit you to say, I got a safety box, I got a vault at home, what does it profit me to teach? And the Hebrew word for vault, and I don't get the key to get inside the vault. I need to unlock the deal to get inside, to get the value, to get the resource. Did you all know what I just started with? I started by telling you that your spirit has a full-grown Jesus in it. If I don't give instructions concerning that part of you, I'm playing with you.
That's good.
We playing church. Because, now watch this, I can't, no matter, this is key to church. I can use every key in this room and be out that front door playing around trying to open that door. But until I get the key that unlocks this doggone church, I don't get in and I get no resources. What the heck are we preaching? What the heck are we teaching? How did we comatose? We got the church feel good, not changing because we're not appealing to what's in your spirit. Anytime you teach the gospel and the kingdom, I have people all over the place, and you start teaching. I'm not bragging on me. I'm just talking about the stuff that we've been illuminated to see. And when people hear it, remember what I said? It's like your baby leaves. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Does anybody know what I'm talking about? What does it mean? Because your spirit says finally. Finally. Somebody finally talking about me. Somebody finally sharing some information. I've been waiting on this. That's why you come alive when you hear revelation. When it's really revealed knowledge. Revelation is not new. It's the unfolding of what exists. Y'all get me? So you got to live on the, oh my goodness. All right, let's keep going real quick because I don't want to repeat last week, but even though I'm not repeating it, I am repeating it. Go next. We said this already, right? We all want to do what? Break the cycle. Next. In our spirit, we have if our spirit has the mind of Christ, what's the problem? We said that, right? Mind's under construction. We explained to you it's not this mind. It's the heart, right? That's the part that God's trying to get to. Next. The heart was made for what? Spirit and soul work together. The heart was to be God's eternal production center. This right piece is key. We are what? Laborers with God. That's why it should be as it is in, so shall it be on. Next. Now we're going into some new territory. Truth is reality. Write this down. Truth is reality. I'm going to dive into this because I can't dive into it because I ain't got time to dive into it, but I'm going to start it today. Truth is reality. Truth is reality. I probably should have said the truth is reality because truths can be disconnected from the truth. The truth is Jesus. And there are trillions of truths. But for today's lesson, I'm talking about Christ and the kingdom. That truth is reality. Now, here's what I want you to see. On the left side of the screen, understand people's perception. You see this left picture? Beliefs and values. This is your mental map of reality. On the right, your prospects' mental map of reality. Or this is dealing with people and they're working. But I'm going to say God on the right, this is his beliefs and values. You on the left, you have your own beliefs and values. It's the middle where there's revelation, where there can be a mutual working together between you and God. Does this make sense? Look on the right. We don't see things as they are.
All right.
Say this with me. We don't see things as they are. We see things as we are. As a man thinketh in his, so is he. We don't see things as they are. We see things as we are. See that? Our perception is our reality. That doesn't mean you're right. It means that's what you believe. Yeah? Jesus stands by a fig tree and tells the disciples, if you believe at your heart, you shall have what you say. True or false? True. That's what he said. But if the person inside says, I can't do that, then their perception is their reality, but they never linked with what Jesus said. So they can't have what Jesus said. This is your real problem with healing. This is your real problem with prosperity. This is your real problem with sin. God finished all the work, and the way he sees things, you're victorious. But the way you see is the way you are. Yes? Is that making you think, or are you all getting nervous, or All right, next screen. So mind renewal, say it again, mind renewal deals with sight and perception. It's very important so you understand what is really mind renovation, what that really is all about. That's the last slide from that. So I said this to you last week. There's a saying that the world is correct in its meaning, saying your perception is your reality. Unfortunately, your perception can be inaccurate and misleading. So God gives you his word to change your reality. Yeah? So in the Greek, another way for the word truth, if you expand upon it, the word truth could actually be translated reality. Truth could be translated reality. God is light, and he sees life as it really is. Let's say that with me. God sees life as it really is. Whatever he sees is right. Whatever he says is right. Now, God is love. God doesn't have love. So whatever he sees and whatever he knows is for your best interest. Why, Lord, I love this man. I love this woman. All we need is love. All we need is love. All we need is love. Why can't we have sex? Because God knows what's best for humanity. And he designed, y'all listening? And he designed sex to be so played out with covenant that if you understood the spirit, I don't have time to go into that now. I did that through a premarital counseling session this week. If you understood the spiritual significance and the physical significance of all the things he did to seal the deal between a man and a woman, you wouldn't be saying half the foolish stuff we saying. Because one step outside of what God sees is a step toward hell. And God knows that. So the problem with us is that we don't see what God sees. And we don't know what God knows. So we rely upon ourselves to get it right. Turn to the person next to you and say, that ain't working. All right, let's finish this and clean this up. So the word truth can be translated as reality. God is light. He sees life as it what? All right, so here's all I want you to catch. So at the end of the day, this is all you need to understand. All God is trying to do is get you to see what he sees. All this complicated, what about this? Rules and regulations, and you know that's religion, and we got all kinds of things to create confusion. When at the end of the day, God knows what's best for you. He is not a tyrant. He is not angry with you. He's not mad at you. He is simply trying to get the best to you. But he can't get the best to you if you don't see what he sees. And that's all the renewing of the mind is the changing of your sight. Does that make sense? In John 8:31-32, when we started, it said, then said Jesus to those which believe on him, if you continue in my word, then are you my disciples indeed. And it could say it like this, and you shall know the reality, and the reality shall make you free. You see that? See, he's already done the work. He finished the work. Wake up. He finished the work waiting on you to see what he did. When you see and believe, you'll have. That's where I'm headed. This is what he means by rest. I'll give you this real quick, and then we'll stop right here. He said labor to enter into rest. So let me give you, go back to that garden for me, so I can show you what labor to enter into rest, that's a paradox, oxymoron. Paradox. You're saying work to rest? So watch this very closely. If I put seed in the ground, it's my responsibility to get that seed to grow. No. 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 Listen. If there's seed, am I responsible for the seed to grow? How does the seed grow? We don't know how. We don't know how. But if you take seed and put it on cement, it won't grow. What's the labor? Preparing the ground. If you till the ground so that the soil can receive the seed, all you need to do is rest, because the seed's going to come up on its own. Yeah, come on, people. My God, did you catch that? Healing is in the seed. Prosperity is in the seed. Your future is in the seed. You don't have to make the seed work. You don't try to make the seed work. You got to get the ground right so the seed has a place to grow. And the seed comes up by itself. That's supernatural, and that's what grace is. It's supernatural, effortless. But you got to do something with the ground. And based on the sower sows the seed, if you don't do something with the ground, the seed can start coming up, but it'll be choked out. You have to cultivate the ground, because the enemy don't want the seed, and the seed is the guarantee for 100-fold return. Why? Because the seed comes from the God that is only 100-fold. The only thing stopping the seed from producing is the stuff that's in the ground. The Bible says even Satan comes immediately to steal the word. How does he come? He can't go after the word. He has to go after you. So he shakes your life, or shakes your mind, or brings tribulation, or tries to bring frustration, or tries to bring offense, so that the seed can get out the ground, because he knows that he can't do nothing with the seed. He can't stop the seed from coming up.
He ain't gonna stop the seed at the end of the day.
In the book of Hebrews, in that chapter that I said, not Hebrews, in the chapter that I said 1 Corinthians, it said Paul waters, Apollos plants, but God gives the increase. Now you understand why we ain't doing or getting anywhere, because we're not concentrating on the internals of the kingdom. We're dealing with the externals. And as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Stand to your feet.